This is coming out a little late because of how things worked out, and June sort of snuck up on me. Time is just moving so fast this year, I can't even keep up. Hello and welcome back to the Miscellaneous channel, where we do miscellaneous things. I'm Zeleny. I typically do pop culture commentary on this channel, among other girly and miscellaneous things, so subscribe if that's your vibe. But I just wanted to recap the month of May 2021 and all of the different pop culture moments, music moments, and internet trends that happened the past month. Every month I do these, like, the list gets bigger and bigger. I think because I'm keeping better track, but also, like, stuff is happening. Like, I don't know how else to say it. Again, like I say in every one of these, this is heavily biased towards my algorithm. I don't know what someone with different interests algorithm might look like. So I do my best to incorporate the most mainstream ones, but I'm sure I will miss some. If I miss any trends, please let me know in the comments below. I would love to know and keep this as a little time capsule for the month of May 2021. So let's get into it because we have a lot to cover. So I'm going to start with general pop culture celebrity news. And to kick it off, we have Billie Eilish on the cover of Vogue, sporting a very new and different style for her. Traditionally, Billie Eilish has worn very baggy clothes and just like covered a lot of herself in her previous era. When she dyed her hair blonde earlier this year, though, it really felt like she is entering a new era and very committed to changing it up. So to me, this Vogue cover wasn't too surprising, but a lot of people, obviously a lot of trolls and haters, were like saying she sold out. It's just like, who cares? And also, like, all the pop stans know, our pop stars do different eras, and like, especially the best pop stars, the most mainstream ones and cool ones, they switch it up for their different eras. So like, to me, it wasn't this big a deal. Obviously, people made a huge deal, like they made about hairstyles and a dress, like whatever. It's just cool that she's exploring a new style, and like, who cares, literally. Good for her. So in billionaire news, we had Bill and Melinda Gates announcing they're divorced in May. And like a week or so after that, it was exposed that Bill Gates had been hooking up with his secretary or an employee and had had a mistress. This honestly doesn't surprise me either. This is kind of like a big deal because everyone saw Bill Gates as this like nerdy, harmless figure, but he's a billionaire, so we know he is definitely not harmless by far. I feel like with rich people marriages, like at a certain point of like being so rich, like I feel like they just sort of live their own separate lives and just do whatever they want and aren't necessarily faithful to. I don't know. I just feel like at a certain point of a certain amount of money, it's like, what is the point of marriage? Like, is that weird? Every marriage I see between like very rich people, to me, is just like kind of a, like, fake. It's just kind of for appearances. It almost feels like a ceremonial marriage, but maybe that's just very cynical of me. So next, in opposite romantic news, we have Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck getting back together. So if you're too young to remember, Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck dated back in 2003, 2004. Then they split and married different people. J-Lo married Marc Anthony. Ben Affleck married Jennifer Garner. They had kids, they had their own separate lives, but recently, cut to May of 2021, they are caught vacationing together in Montana for some reason. They're public about being back together. It's very interesting and a big sort of throwback moment for people that ship them. Everyone's hoping for Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston to be next, but let's not hold our breath for that one. Another couple romance news, but bad again. Apparently John Mulaney announced he was divorcing his wife. John Mulaney is a comedian. It's also made public that he is dating Olivia Munn. I don't know much about this guy, like, at all. So people are really upset, though, about this split and the whole him dating Olivia Munn. My best guess is that he's sort of like a relatable type of comedian, and his wife was like a relatable type of person. So like, people took it really hard that he sort of left her for a hot celebrity. I don't know if that's exactly the case because I'm not a fan of his and I haven't seen his special or anything, but that's sort of the vibe I get, that it's kind of heartbreaking to a lot of his fans that he's sort of sold out in the romance department, if that makes sense. So this is quite the roller coaster of romance news because, again, we're going positive. Ariana Grande and Dalton Gomez actually got secret married in May. It was a quick relationship to get engaged, and then it was a quick engagement to be married. So it's kind of a little fast, it seems, to a lot of fans, but I think most people are just hoping she's happy. And the wedding she had was pretty private at her own residence. It had like 20 people or less there, and she released photos on her Instagram that are the classic, Ariana Grande heavily filtered Polaroid look and vibe of it. Not many details to the photos, very high contrast, so we didn't get to see much of her wedding, and I think that's fine. I mean, I'd love to see more just because I'm a chismosa, but it's fair to keep it private, especially with her history. Like, I get why her specifically too wants to keep her relationships private from now on. Damn, there's a lot of love in the air. I think it's hot vaccinated summer already, and there's a lot of romance happening. This one was just kind of fun, but Rita Ora, Tessa Thompson, and Taika Waititi, who is I don't know if I'm saying that right. Taika is an actor and famous director. Tessa Thompson is a big actor and writer-director of things. Rita Ora is a subpar pop star. Oh god, shade. So they were all photographed together in some tropical, I don't know if it was on a boat or some tropical vacation type place, all sort of canoodling together in some sort of polyamorous setup. They're all very hot people, so it all makes sense. It checks out. That's all I have for romance news. The final piece of celebrity news I'll tack on here is that Demi Lovato came out as non-binary and that their pronouns are now they, them. Last month they were kind of in our cancel watch segment, even though it was kind of a gray situation in my opinion. So I'm just happy for them. Happy they're exploring their gender in this way and coming to terms with who they are. Okay, next let's move on to TV and movie news, which things are happening in that realm as well. Let me start with movies. So Knives Out 2 released a few cast announcements, released quite a few cast announcements to the point where it became a meme to say that you were cast in Knives Out 2. It's like everyone wants to be a part of the Knives Out craze. Knives Out was a popular movie in 2019 about a murder mystery starring Daniel Craig as like a detective, and I believe the way they're doing it in the first one, they solve the mystery at the end, and it's gonna be sort of an anthology series of movies, and it's gonna have a whole new story with just Daniel Craig returning as the detective for the murder mystery, or whatever mystery it is. I don't know what kind, if it's a murder mystery or not. But so far, I've seen Catherine Hahn, Edward Norton, Janelle Monáe, Kate Hudson, Leslie Odom Jr., Dave Bautista. I don't even know who some of these people are, but these are the people that have been announced in the cast. As far as I know, there might be even more. I couldn't tell at a certain point who was a joke, who wasn't. So the live action villain origin story of Cruella came out this past month, and the promotion for this movie was just so insane. Like literally the promotion budget for this astronomical, like in the bajillions of dollars. They had drag queens making makeup looks of it. I literally went to Sam's Club and every TV in the Sam's Club was just playing the Cruella trailer on loop. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna pay $30 to watch this evil villain's origin story that isn't just... Why, Disney? Why? Please just stop. At least make it free on Disney Plus. HBO Max does this. HBO Max releases movies at the same time as theaters on the HBO Max streaming service. So Disney has no excuse. They have all the money in the world. I'm more heated than I expected about that. I'm sorry. So let's move on to some TV news. Let's start with the Real TV. So this one was kind of a crazy announcement, but the Ellen show announced that they are ending. Ellen has said it just ran its course and she's ready to move on, but a lot of people can't help but notice or think it has to do with how poorly her reputation has been smeared the past year or so, which has been a crazy kind of situation. A lot of people have come out saying that Ellen is like really rude to staff, and basically people keep trying to cancel her even though there's not much like tangible evidence of wrongdoing on her part, and she was a big pioneer for the LGBTQ plus community on television, so it's kind of a weird thing. But also she is a bit boomer-y in her style, so like I get it as well. Like I do think her show is a little bit of like run its course. Like I do agree with that. We gotta wonder, did Dakota Johnson start all of this? I saw this meme on Twitter that was just like, so I'm gonna show it right here. If you get this meme, congratulations, you spend way too much time on the internet. Just like me. If you want me to explain it, I'll explain it in the comments if anyone asks. So next we had the long-awaited Friends reunion special that released on HBO Max. I have a whole video giving my thoughts and opinions and highlights about the special, so make sure to watch that if you're interested. It was basically a well-produced documentary that showed the Friends cast exploring the set, reliving old memories, of doing table reads of famous scenes, plus had some talk show segments, had interviews with creators and guests, and it was overall, I think, really well done and did showcase the Friends, the cast, that people wanted to reunite so badly, which I think a lot of fans were worried that they would steamroll the Friends cast with a million guest stars that they announced, but it was well done in my opinion. So finally, for TV news, we had a bit of a controversy with the Powerpuff Girls live action show. Holy crap, this show has had so much shit because it is shit, honestly. Previously, there had been leaks of the production and how underwhelming the costumes were on that show so far. Literally, like, Party City Powerpuff Girl costume is what they have them dressed as. You go on TikTok and see like a million fashion girls on there, like style really amazing, cool outfits that are Powerpuff Girl inspired, and it's just like, what is stopping the live action one? But that wasn't the controversy in May with the show. So it seemed like there was a leak of the script, and the script was cringy. It was like overly sexual and edgy and like trying so hard to be very hip with Gen Z in like such a cringy way. It was horrible. I still don't know if that script was real. I do question its legitimacy because it was so bad. Like it almost felt like it was made on purpose to look bad. The backlash was so strong to the script that they announced that they are reworking the show. They're going back to the drawing board on it, and hopefully we see some improvements. I mean, the fans are pretty disillusioned from it, and it's just kind of like something to make fun of at this point. But sometimes the online bullying for these TV shows can be a good thing. We saw it work for Sonic the Hedgehog movie. They could really have a success with the Powerpuff Girls, and they're just sort of throwing it away because it is so bad. We'll see how that goes, but they have announced they're reworking it at least. Which kind of makes me think that the script that was leaked was real, because why would they take the hate seriously if it wasn't a real script? Like, so let's move on to pop music, and buckle up because music was the fattest category this month. Like, there was so much going on with music. Obviously, the biggest elephant in the room, pop culture phenomenon of this month of May 2021, the queen of May of 2021, was Olivia Rodrigo. She debuted her Sour album this month, and also her third single, Good For You, dropped a week before the album. Both of these, the Sour album and the single, broke records. Good For You went to #1 on Billboard. The Sour album had 8 out of 10 songs in the top 10 on Billboard, which broke the record for most songs in the top 10 by a woman, and it beat Taylor Swift's 6 songs. And she's up in the ranks, I think tied with like Post Malone and Juice WRLD. Is that his name? Whoever Juice is. And she's like getting up there with Drake. The Weeknd is another one. Good For You also broke the record for most streamed song in a week on Spotify. And guess whose record she broke? Her own with Driver's License. So Driver's License held that record before, and then Good For You surpassed it. So Olivia Rodrigo proved herself not to be a one-hit wonder in the slightest. She is full-on a main pop girl and has skyrocketed to mainstream success. The PR and press campaign for Sour has been insane. She had like a car wash that was themed around the album with packages she was giving out. She just had collaborations everywhere, at Target, it is everywhere. Her PR team is so smart. The brand is so cohesive for the album, and it is just like a smash success, like undeniable. It obviously tailors like so much to Gen Z, but also has been a hit with people of all ages. A lot of millennials are obsessed. Like, it transcended ages as well. Like, I know a lot of millennials on social media are joking about how they're old listening to Olivia Rodrigo, but also like every millennial is posting that. So it's like, it's basically a hit with Gen Z and millennials. Like, and that's just what it is. That's just the facts, no printer. So Olivia Rodrigo's Good For You has also brought up and led a bit of a pop punk revival. It's brought up a lot of nostalgia for elder emo kids. I made a whole video about this as well if you want to check it out. But Willow Smith also released a song that is in this genre, and Willow Smith is a bit more committed to the pop punk aesthetic and rock music. She does have an album coming out, and her song Transparent Soul is very much in this punk realm. Plus, we had a lesser known band called the Linda Lindas of very young girls go viral on social media with their song called Racist Sexist Boy that radiated pure angst, anger, and punk energy. And it's just great to see this pop punk revival that is more inspired by female rage this time around, compared to like the male-centered 2000s pop punk movement. So moving on from the pop punk discussion, Nicki Minaj released some music in May as well. I'm not much of a Barb, so I'm not very familiar, but apparently this project contained a lot of old mixtapes that she had made, old songs of hers that were previously unreleased. So the Barbs were really excited on social media about this music, and it was very nostalgic, I think, for a lot of those people, because it was music from when Nicki Minaj was first becoming huge, like 2009. So the Barbs are happy, especially from this song called Itty Bitty Piggy. I do really appreciate Nicki Minaj promoting hot pink Crocs as well, and making me feel like I'm hip and not lame for wearing my Crocs. So next, BTS released their next big single called Butter. BTS, as usual, the biggest boy band in the world, which was their subtitle when they guest starred on the Friends reunion special for some reason. They went #1 on Billboard as well with this song Butter, and broke streaming records on YouTube. K-pop stans do not play around, so like they just break their own records over and over on YouTube for their music videos. So a bit of controversy in the music world. Coldplay released sort of their new era concept, their new single. This one is personal to me because it is in my fandom. It is an attack on my own fandom, the Chromatica era. Coldplay released this new project called Chaotica, and like their concept is that they have a planet named Chaotica, and they use like symbols and sort of pinkish colors, pinkish bright colors, and a dystopian vibe. Fans were quick to drag them on Twitter for the resemblance to Chromatica. Obviously, I don't really know if they copied or were inspired by Chromatica. I don't think Lady Gaga will care. Lady Gaga barely cares about Chromatica at all. So obviously I don't think Lady Gaga will care. But obviously I am Team Chromatica all the way. Screw Coldplay, they're lame. And finally, speaking of my queen Lady Gaga, this month she celebrated the 10-year anniversary of the Born This Way album. It was a revolutionary piece and peak in her career where she was really advocating for the LGBTQ plus community. It really is deserving of celebration 10 years later, and I'm glad she is. She's releasing new merch. She has a mural for Pride Month, and ultimately she is releasing a new album, not by Lady Gaga, but of LGBTQ plus artists covering the whole Born This Way album, I believe. It does have a few singles out already of like new versions of the Born This Way album songs, which is pretty cool. So now for always the spiciest section of these videos, it is the cancel watch. This month, it was a lot of sort of minor petty controversies, not so much like huge cancellations, but let's just start with some of the more smaller controversies. So on literally the first of the month, there was chaos in the Drag Race fandom. Tamisha Iman tried to cancel Monet X Change. I have a whole video on that, and I don't think it's worth going into the drama, but there was it just caused a huge mess in the RuPaul's Drag Race fandom. So Issa Rae had kind of a funny interaction with a Twitter user who was basically made this tweet saying Issa Rae wasn't attractive or wasn't beautiful, and then Issa Rae clapped back with a picture side by side of the Twitter user and herself and was like, we literally look the same. I feel sorry for this Twitter user that got all this attention, but I guess that's what we do when we tweet stuff publicly. It's pretty awkward. So next, Gwyneth Paltrow admitted that her biggest low point of the quarantine and of COVID was that she ate bread. Obviously, people were so pissed. I mean, Kim, there's people that are dying. Energy. People are just over her goopiness, and okay, you ate bread, girl. Good. Okay. Moving on. So this one was kind of a stupid, like, controversy moment, but there was this article published by The Guardian that said that Shrek was actually a bad movie, and obviously everyone was outraged, but everyone kind of eventually saw through this as, like, a gimmick to just get clicks for their articles, and that, like, outrage is the biggest way to motivate someone to click your article. We all know Shrek is a masterpiece, so we can't even pretend it's not for clicks. I'm so sorry. So this is yet another dumb controversy, or not even a controversy, but it was just like a dumb mess. Apparently Hilary Duff came out on Instagram and said that ColourPop never sent her the Lizzie McGuire makeup collection. And it was just so fucked up because she's literally Lizzie McGuire. Like, hello? Like, what? You didn't send Hilary Duff, Lizzie McGuire herself, the ColourPop collection? Please. And they sent it to so many people. Like, we know, you know, it was just a massive oversight that I'm just like, how could you not do this? So Hilary Duff called them out. I'm glad. Good for her calling them out. So on to like the more serious cancellations. Chrissy Teigen found herself in hot water yet again for some old tweets that were directed at a TV personality from way back in like 2009, 2010. If you don't know, Courtney Stodden, who has come out as non-binary and uses they, them pronouns now. They were famous back in 2011 or around then for marrying this creepy old failed actor guy while they were still 16 years old. As a teen, they got parental consent to do this. Some states have it to be legal in that way, and it's just very disgusting. And now they're sort of speaking out publicly about realizing how they were preyed upon, escaping from that marriage. So Chrissy Teigen, at the time of all this happening, directed some super vile, nasty tweets at Courtney Stodden, and stuff we see from like the nastiest of Twitter trolls or internet trolls of like, you know, go die, and just things like that that are just like, what the hell? Like, why are you so mad at this person? And especially to a minor. This was all directed at a 16-year-old person. So Chrissy Teigen, I know it was a long time ago, but Chrissy Teigen was 26 at the time of these tweets as well. So Chrissy Teigen was fully 10 years older than this person, Courtney, and it's just icky, to be honest. And I don't know if she's on Twitter now or not. She leaves and comes back all the time. It's just not okay. And finally, the biggest sort of cancel moment was Kendall Jenner again getting canceled for a drink commercial. This time it was not Pepsi trying to make world peace with a Pepsi. It was tequila. She did this commercial that was very appropriative of Mexican culture. She had Mexican people as her props kind of in the video. She had Mexican style braids and just like very appropriative of particularly indigenous Mexican style. So it was cringy as hell. They used like the Mexico filter over the commercial to show we're not in the US anymore. And I just can't believe she got in trouble yet again for a drink commercial thing. Like, she needs to learn not to do drinks, like, at this point. At least since she attacked Mexicans, the memes that came out of this were hilarious. Mexicans have their meme game on point, not gonna lie. Okay, that's enough scandals for the month. Let's move on to social media. Let's start with Twitter as usual. So Twitter removed the crop feature from their photos. So instead of like when you tweet a photo, it doesn't crop it to be shorter. It shows the full length. Some people were sort of mourning this feature. I mean, just like any internet thing, it's just silly mourning of the crop thing. And for Twitter, that's honestly it. Twitter was pretty dry this month in the meme game. At least TikTok stepped up and really picked up the slack on that end. So let's move on to TikTok. There were so many viral sounds and trends on TikTok this month, like I could barely keep up. So yet another new term dropped on TikTok, but in this case, you cannot convince me that this was not manufactured by some BuzzFeed style company just to get more clicks on their articles, because I cannot picture any Gen Z young person saying this term, and that is the term cheugy, which basically is an adjective to describe basic millennial type interests. It felt like they were trying to recreate the skinny jeans middle part thing just to make some money and drive clicks. Like, no one uses this term, and ironically, it feels cheugy to use the word cheugy. So another song that became hugely popular on the app, no surprise, is Good For You by Olivia Rodrigo. We talked about it earlier in the pop music section, but it became huge on TikTok as well. But the biggest trend that came out of this was mashing up Good For You with Misery Business by Paramore, which they go surprisingly well together. And a lot of elder emo kids were lip syncing to Good For You in their 2021 aesthetic and form. When it cuts to Misery Business, would cut to their look in 2007, lip syncing Misery Business, and with this like camcorder filter on top. I did see one TikTok and one person that had actual footage of their teen self in 2007 lip syncing Misery Business to do this trend with, and that was so cool. Like, how I wish I had recorded myself lip syncing Misery Business back then. Like, I wish I had recorded so much more back then. I could be TikTok famous from just showing that crap. So another trend that had to do with a song was this one trend where people, mainly non-white people, were doing their best impression of a white girl dance to a song called How Deep Is Your Love, not the one by the Bee Gees, but by Calvin Harris. And this one was actually an interesting trend because it started out kind of mocking, and it continues to be a bit of a parody of white girl dancing. I think made famous by Scarlett Johansson in this scene from, I believe, Marriage Story. This, I think, is the blueprint for this trend. It was interesting because it started out more mockingly, but then a lot of the sentiment became like, dancing like this is kind of freeing and kind of fun in a way. So like, I feel like the moral of the story is that dancing is freeing. So next, moving on to dialogue sounds that became popular. One that I noticed was this one that's like, have you ever been in love? I don't think so. Do you want me to describe it to you? and then it shows something. Apparently that sound and dialogue originated from the British TV show Skins, but it has been applied to so many different things, not just love. Have you ever had a cat? Or, you know, just anything, and they just replace like that word of love with whatever they're gonna describe at the end of the TikTok. Another dialogue one that came from a duet on TikTok, so this dialogue originated on TikTok, not on a TV show or anything, it was this TikTok of a person reacting to a pizza being cut into, well, slices. And a ridiculous amount of slices as the TikTok progresses. The reactor gets progressively more upset the more slices the pizza has, and eventually ends the TikTok with, "That's enough slices." This sound has been applied to a lot of different scenarios where there is too much of something. Like I saw one about Texas, who has gotten a lot of rain recently. I can confirm. It's just like, "That's enough slices," like at the rain. So it's been applied to a lot of things. I've seen it applied to a sectional couch that had way too many sections. I think my favorite trend this month was one that had to do with a filter, and it was this Versailles Run filter that it puts your face onto this running woman in the Versailles Palace. I don't know. I'm not cultured, so I don't know where this place is in Versailles. It's always to this remix of Love Game by Lady Gaga, which, okay, love that. But also there was this thing where this filter wasn't available in certain countries for a while. So there was a lot of like creative IRL recreations of this. I even saw someone that recreated it in the actual Palace of Versailles. And it was just spectacular to see the real life person running through the actual place. So it's very cool. It just gets me every time. It's just so funny looking. And finally, the most popular song on TikTok in May of 2021. Let's sing it together.
Castaway, we are castaways, ahoy there, ahoy.
Castaways, oh my god. This song haunts my freaking nightmares. I cannot get it out of my brain. It is a random song from the kids show called The Backyardigans. I don't know why, I don't know how. Just the internet doing its thing, and it is now living in our heads rent-free, I guess. And just to wrap up the social media section, Instagram added a new feature to be able to add your pronouns into your bio, so go ahead and go do that if you're cool. And with that, that's all I have for May of 2021. Please let me know if I've missed any moments or trends in the past month. I would love to hear about what you are watching, or seeing, or talking about with your friends. What were your favorite trends and content of this month, and across any medium? I would love to hear about that too. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed. I put out videos once to twice a week. And you can follow me at Miscellaneous on Instagram or Twitter to find out about new videos, or just turn on the bell notification here on YouTube. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!